Peace and blessing.
Hola.
It is yours truly, family. It is the Amaris. Thanks so much for tuning in to Keys to a Successful Relationship with the Amaris.
Sounds like someone is at the door. I'll be right back.
If you'd be so kind to share in and invite, that'll be great. When my queen come back, we will begin the relationship program on this evening. Title of the program is Let's Stay Together. Again, let's stay together. We're going to talk about that on this evening. The music that's being played is for promotional uses only. We don't own the rights to this music. In the meantime, allow the soulful sounds of Al Green to sweet serenade your soul.
I'm back.
The queen is here.
Hello, everyone.
I said the queen is here.
I'm going to take some time and share and invite, and if you would do the same, it would be great.
My good sister from Rochester, New York, Queen Dashanice in the building, my good childhood friend, my good brother, and the guys, Jeff Scholar in the building. And this is the part of marriage you got to exercise your patience. With people who know they coming on the video and don't silence their phone.
You know, things happen.
Everybody that's tuning in, thank you so much for tuning in. We greatly appreciate that. We will be starting here shortly. If you be so kind to share and invite, that'd be great for all those who are aspiring to be in a serious relationship, seeking to be married. You don't want to get married, but you want to stay in your solid relationship. Whichever the case may be, we're going to talk about it on today, some keys in regards to how to have a successful relationship. My queen and I are happily married. I'm not holding on by a string. I love my queen.
Shay, likewise. You best believe that.
I don't know if we was going to stay together if she paused any longer.
See what I'm saying? You gotta listen to the words.
Yes, indeed.
Al Green, he really put it out there when he put that song together, or whoever wrote it for him. It was, I had some time to just look at the song and some of the words in the song. So, but I'm gonna let Amari do his thing, his hosting thing.
Yes, indeed. So again, family, we thank you all for tuning in on this evening. And, we're getting ready to dive in. As we all know about the seriousness of the lack of love we see in our community as it relates to love amongst husband and wife and just love within the community. We see the lack thereof. And so my queen and I have been very fortunate to have an example of what love looks like in our life. You know, her mother and father were married for, how long was mom and dad married for?
For 47 years.
For 47 years. And my auntie Queen and my uncle Ronnie, they've been married almost as long as I've been living. You know, I'm 43 years old. They've been married roughly around like 39 years and what have you. And then I seen love with my grandfather and my grandmother, you know, who were married for about 60, almost 60 years on my father's side. You know, my grandmother, Esther Allen, she loved my grandfather, Fred Allen, so much. Although he wasn't my biological grandfather, he still showed me what the example of love is, how he interacted with my grandmother, how he took care of my grandmother. So I just want to share something personal with you. How my grandfather he was ill. Okay, he couldn't work at the time. All right, and my grandmother, she worked at the time, and my grandfather would make sure that my grandmother's meal is cooked. He would make sure her bath water was prepared for her when she came home. And he just loved her, man. He opened up the door for her. The way he spoke to her, he whispered sweet somethings. See, I like to say sweet somethings. You know what I mean? I when I'm talking to my queen, I don't believe I'm saying sweet nothings. I like a brother like to think I'm saying something. You understand? So he whispered those sweet somethings, and to my grandmother, and I seen how much she loved him by the way she smiled, the way she looked at him. Just feeling that love energy, between those two. And that was something that I've always wanted in my life. And, the universe blessed me with my queen. I went through numerous relationships prior to her with our women. I kept it in the culture. Okay. And I had some very traumatic experiences. Okay. But fortunately, the universe gave me a strong mind, and I believe in, like the Honorable Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, judging somebody by their character, and I would have missed out on a beautiful gift that was packaged in the embodiment of my queen, Amari. When I had met her, I was a little nervous. And it wasn't because of anything that she did. It was because of the things that I experienced in my past. Okay. And those things were very traumatic, and it had me to be more cautious and to be somewhat hesitant, to move forward in a serious relationship, and to be more specific, to be in a marriage again. Due to the failed marriages I had prior to her, a total of 3. I don't mind being transparent. Some people like to hide that. I don't hide those type of things. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't bother me at all. I made my mistakes, and so did they. However, what I come to find throughout my experiences is that, when you don't succeed, you have to evaluate why it didn't work out. So that way, when you get to another relationship, it'll be more stable. Okay. And so, by you having that knowledge and that wisdom and that understanding, I believe that it will be more of an opportunity and more of a chance for your relationship to succeed. Okay. So I'm gonna let my queen say a few things, and then, we're going to carry on with the various ways that you can keep your relationship together.
I can fully relate when you say that you had such examples in your life, because as for myself, I was only exposed to extended relationships. I knew that my grandma and grandpa, they've been together. They had 12 kids, and they're still together. And my mother and my father, 47 years. I mean, I've never seen my mother with anyone else. I've never seen my grandmother with anyone else. And my grandmother on my father's side, she was with her husband every time until they passed away. So I didn't know of relationships that were not in an extended status that were near to me. So those are the things, and those are the examples that I had to gravitate towards. Those are examples that I had in my life daily. So when it came to being in a relationship, a marriage, or whatever, it is within me to stay together. And I've learned from those great examples of things to do, what they did and what they did not do in order to prolong the relationship, even though they had more than 5 kids. One grandma had 12 kids, the other had 10 kids. And they all stayed together. It wasn't, you make me mad, I pack my grip, I'm gone. Plus, you probably won't go far with 12 children behind you. But I'm just saying, all I I knew was is to stay in a relationship. And I found that, looking at my mother and my father's relationship, there was like their marriage was a great deal of respect. It was a great deal of love. I mean, these people were together from the time my mother was 16 and my father was probably 17, 18, up until the time he transitioned. I mean, I sat back and they were a great example for their 5 kids. There wasn't a bunch of knockdown drag outs. There wasn't a bunch of women knocking on the door talking about, I have this child, or, some type of outside, show. They were great examples of people who actually wanted to stay together. And that's one of the things I want to say. When you are in a relationship, and especially if you have kids, you have to realize that you are or should be the example that your kids are looking for, or that your kids see, so that they can grow on or grow to be able to nourish a beautiful relationship themselves.
Absolutely. So we're going to start, by talking about, the respect of each other. Okay. Respecting each other's feelings. Okay. That's something that we have to be very considerate about, because who wants to be in a relationship with someone who disregards the way that you feel? Okay. Unfortunately, as men, we're taught to be numb to compassion, and which is a root that comes from love, and a lot of times a woman doesn't feel love from us because we've been programmed to be so hard. You know what I'm saying? And not to express our passion that we have for our queen. And even though we may not need that, one thing that we shouldn't do when we're in a relationship is to try to make a woman into a man and a man into a woman.
Well, there it is.
I have to allow her to be a woman. You know what I'm saying? A woman is more compassionate. A woman is more intimate, far as, wanting to, hug and, wanting to cuddle and wanting to kiss a lot, things of that nature. Not to say my queen does that. I mean, I'm fortunate that she doesn't, smother me to death. She does it within reason. You know what I'm saying? But one thing that we have to do as men, we have to learn how to be compassionate. Listen to our queen. Okay. Take out the time to allow her to express herself. You don't have to agree with everything she say, just like she don't have to agree with everything you say. But we need to afford them that opportunity to be a woman. Like, for instance, a woman is a nurturer. A woman is a nurturer.
I don't agree with everything you say, right? But one songwriter say you better know when to hold them and when to fold them. So I fold them.
It's a woman. A woman is a nurturer, and I used to get very upset, and then I still work on it now, because I'm not gonna sit up here and say I'm perfect, because everybody know, that I'm not that. You know what I'm saying? But I have to work on allowing her to be that nurturer. You know what I'm saying? Because women, especially, because she's a mother. You know what I'm saying? She's a mother, so it's even more intensified when a woman is a mother. And sometimes as men, we may get a little frustrated with the nurturing side of our woman, you know what I'm saying? But that should be something that we should embrace, because that means that she care about you. You see what I'm saying? That's her way of ensuring that she care. Like for me, she like, well, where's your jacket? Where is your hat?
30 degrees.
Your food gonna get cold. So now I'll be like, woman, look, I'm a grown man. I know when I know when I'm ready to eat, when I'm not. You understand? So I'm just being honest. That used to frustrate me. Like, I'm not a baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, I'm a grown man. But what I come to find is, is that we have to dwell with a woman with knowledge. We have to understand the makeup of the woman.
Like I said earlier, I looked at the Let's Stay Together topic, and I kind of studied Al Green's words and things like that. And one of the first things he said, I'm so in love with you.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. This is not stage either. We just flowing. I'm telling you, it's not a setup.
I'm so in love with you. And of course, we know, we always say love is patient, kind, temperate, and all this other kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah, that it is.
But the next thing he said is, whatever you want to do is all right. He said, whatever you want to do is all right with me. I was like, that brother is all right. And it kind of actually not kind of, but it did remind me of my king. And he says, whatever you want to do, is all right with me. If you want to go to the movies, if you want to stay home, if you don't want to do anything at all. And it's not because he's a pushover, it's because that he is flexible in who he is. And that's one thing as to staying together, you have to understand flexibility. And not only do you have to understand flexibility, you have to practice flexibility. It's not always good to be stubborn. It's not always good to be stout-hearted and hard-hearted. It's not always good to be deaf to what your spouse is requesting, whether it be physical, emotional, whatever it is. It's not always good to always be heard all the time and you never listen. It's on both sides of the coin. It's some give and it's some take. And that's what I learned throughout the relationship that I have with my husband. It's some give and it's some take. It's some mountains and it's some valleys. I always say you don't have to go to every fight that's strong. You know what I'm saying? You pick and choose your battles. You pick and choose what you want to, blow up about, or if you choose not to. I pick and choose my battle. And I choose not to mess with those small fries. You follow me what I'm saying? Anything that's petty, anything that's just designed to get us off course, I know not to even mess with it. Why? Because it's not worth my time.
And see, that's it right there, man. We have to choose what we invest our time in as it relates to negativity or positivity. We can choose to focus on the negative things, and we'll never see the qualities that's in the special someone that's in our life. Because the only thing we focus on is, well, you don't do this. I don't like when you do that. And who wants to hear that all the time about the negative things about themselves? So if you want to stay together, man, you have to also be very positive and to compliment one another about the things that you love about each other. My queen and I lie not to you, man. We literally turn off the radio and we can drive for like an hour or so just talking, because our communication is strong. Okay. Not that we don't have disagreements, because we do, but you know what? We have them in a very mature manner. We don't have yelling matches. We do not have, I promise you, and I'm not just saying, we do not have yelling matches. We don't yell at each other and scream at each other. And we never have not one fist fight, not one. You know what I'm saying? Because, of our spiritual maturity, first of all.
Yeah.
First of all, we're mature mentally.
Yes.
Okay? And that's the reason why we're able to handle situations in a mature manner. And we know it as conflict resolution. So if you want to stay together in a relationship, you got to learn how to be able to handle disagreements maturely. Okay? Not wanting to fist fight and throw things and have temperature tantrums like little kids, and just walk off, and he or she don't know where you're going and things of this nature. You know what I'm saying? Of course, the situation dictates and what have you. But what I'm saying is, you got to be honest with yourself. You got to look at yourself in the mirror of truth and see what your reflection is. Am I dealing with this situation like an adult? Okay. Am I dealing with this maturely? Okay. Because I've had my moments where I had to be honest. I had to come to my queen and apologize because I didn't handle those situations as I should have. I should have been more temperate. Okay. There was the way I used to say certain things, and things of this nature. I didn't have to click off a safe like that the way I did. And I had to be honest about that. And I had to be mature about that. And again, I personally had to look in the mirror and say, you know what? I need to talk to her better. And she expressed that to me. You know what I'm saying? And it hurt me that I hurt her, by the way that I spoke to her. You understand what I'm saying? Because unbeknownst to a lot of us, we have certain habits that we're not even aware of sometime until we get into a relationship with somebody, and sometimes the people around us don't mind, or sometimes they're afraid to address the issue and they won't say something about it. However, when it's brought to our attention, we have to humble ourselves and take in consideration the way our spouse feels and not be like, oh, you just being a B. Because some women say that to men too. Oh, stop acting like a B.
Oh, those fighting words.
Some men get mad at a woman and snap on a woman, because of her emotionalism, and beat her up and, oh, you just a wimp. Grow up. You're a grown woman. If you want to stay together, then certainly that's not the way that you need to speak to each other or handle those situations. Also, communication is an imperative because you got to know what direction that you're going in as well. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to resources, when it comes to what's on your mind, okay, because a lot of times we think that a spouse or the special someone in our life is one of telepathy. You should just know. You know what I'm saying? And that's not the way it works. We have to communicate. And if you're one of those people who do that silent thing, or I'm not talking to you, or I'm not saying nothing to you. I can understand if you don't want to say something at that moment. But if you constantly walk around and you don't say anything, then your relationship is bound to fail. Because a lapse in the communication will equate to a failed relationship.
True. And I just want to say something that Brother Al Green said. And this song of Preach, I can take it verse by verse and go ahead and preach. But he said that you make me feel brand new. And to me, when he said you make me feel brand new, that means that my relationship with my husband it renewed my strength, so to speak. Everything about when he walked into my life was new. A new outlook on life, a new partnership, a new love, a new way of living. And and I'm talking about in a positive way. We got some folk that walk up in our life and it's new, all right, but it's not always for the good. And that's what I can appreciate about staying together, grasping on those things that renewed me, especially renewed my strength, so, and that's not it. And then I like this other part. He says that since we've been together, he said, I want to love you forever. Why? Because he was dedicated and he was committed to this woman.
Commitment.
He was totally dedicated to the fact that he didn't want to do anything but love her forever. Y'all need to listen to some of these songs. I tell you, they'll preach. And that's what it is when it comes to staying together.
Not hit it and quit it.
You want to talk about commitment?
But hit it and commit it. Huh? Yes, indeed. You know, it's important to make that covenant and to keep your vows.
He was satisfied.
You know, one thing about us men is that we've been miseducated about what commitment is. And we frown upon that because we've been taught that weak men actually do that. That's what we've been taught. But see, this is the reason why we have so many single parent mothers out there today. Okay, that is a very misguided mentality for us to have. And that's the reason why our women and our children are left without protection.
Yes.
Because a lot of us are not taught to commit. And marriage is a beautiful thing when you're married to the right person.
Yes.
See, it's nothing that's scarce about being in a committed relationship. As long as you're in a committed relationship with a woman or a man for a woman, okay, you know, and you have a mature mentality about what it is to be a man, okay, and there's more to a woman than just having sex with her. You understand what I'm saying? And a lot of us, we just been taught it's just about sex. And we've been taught, you know, that it's about the numbers, how many numbers we have, how many women that we can sleep with. And, you know, a lot of us just like to run wild. You understand what I'm saying? And think about this. If every man did that, which none of us really should be doing that, period. But if every man did that, then where would the family structure be? We have to regain the respect of commitment. Okay? Even if that woman isn't your wife, it doesn't matter. Okay? If you made a vow to that woman as your girlfriend, as your fiance, okay, to me it's just the same as being married. Why? Because you gave her your word. You committed to that woman. Okay? And there's so many of our women that are broken emotionally because of the men that violated the vows that they made to them. Okay? And a man that can resist temptation is really the stronger man. See, we got it backwards. We got it backwards.
Or the stronger woman.
Thank you.
Because there's some stuff going on.
Go ahead and talk about that a little bit.
No, well, you know, you have to be a strong woman to resist temptation. You know, some women have been some places and done some things. And they're fighting and struggling just like a man has fought and struggled. You know, just because a woman has on a skirt and heels and lipstick and got a husband on her side, that don't mean that she's not fighting just as well as the man is not fighting. But here's the issue. You resist temptation. You know, you resist those things that dangle in your face like a carrot. You know, you resist going after things that, you know that are not yours. You resist being with the man because he said that he can buy you a house on a hill and give you a Mercedes Benz. You resist that type of stuff. And in your resistance, that would cause you to stay together.
That's true. That's definitely true. I'm glad she touched on that too, because men do face those things too. And sometimes men don't want to commit because of them being cheated on. And a lot of men, because of our ego, because we have very big egos, a lot of us don't want to admit that we've been hurt. You know what I'm saying? And men may not necessarily cry in some cases, but we hurt differently, you know, about certain experiences that we had. With that being said, The only way you can stay together in a relationship too is that you have to deal with your emotional trauma. That is something that the man and the woman carries into the relationship. And a lot of times, because of him or her not being healed from their emotional wounds, they bring the wounds into the relationship and end up wounding the one who is actually loving them.
So true.
You know, because of the track record of the woman being hurt by men or by the men being hurt by women. And we have to let that go. We have to let that go. We have to dig down on the inside, okay? And let it go. Why? Because you're not going to give that man or woman a fair chance to prove themselves to you that they are competent to make you a good spouse. And a lot of times, the trauma arises in situations and the trigger of something. The trigger, it's a trigger. When something happens in a relationship and you experienced it before, there go the trigger. Then you start categorizing that woman or that man and putting them in that category when that's not the way that they are. Okay? So if you want to stay together in a relationship, you must let go of your past and focus on your present and look at your bright future.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that the Reverend Al said in his song. He said he want to know why people break up, turn around and make up. He just can't see. And I want to touch on the breakup part. You know, you have some people purposely going around breaking up and breaking folks' heart. You know that?
Oh, yeah.
And they do it knowing that perhaps maybe they would make up. Do you know that people are purposely being vindictive and spiteful and malicious towards each other? Husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend. I mean, with friends like that, you don't need enemies. And to be sleeping with that enemy. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is that we really have to monitor, you know, what we're doing in these relationships. I've never seen such, you know, I'm a paternity court. I have to watch at least 2 episodes while I go to sleep.
Brother barely can go to sleep.
Yeah, I got to know who the father was.
Yes, he is the baby daddy.
I knew that wasn't his. And to hear some of the stories, you know, that are coming out of how the woman, what she did and how she concealed her pregnancy and how she really didn't even know if that was the baby daddy or not. You know what I'm saying? So, and the little games that's being played. You know, so I just wanted to say that should be, you know, not an option. What you got to say?
Definitely. You know, I totally agree with that. And, you know, we have to keep the fire burning. We have to keep the fire burning in a relationship. You know, if you really want to stay together, man, you got to keep the fire burning. And what my queen and I do, we continuously have date nights. You know, to be honest with you, we just flow. Everybody's relationship different, but she and I, we have such a connection that we just flow. We do. We just flow. I say, hey, sweetheart, you want to watch?
It took work.
Yes, it did. It did definitely take some work. You got to put in the work for things to work in your relationship, definitely. Yeah. Okay, but what I do is I ask my queen, you know, hey, sweetheart, you know, you want to watch a movie tonight? What you want to do? You know, every weekend, because like when my wife, before she started working for herself, okay, every weekend was her weekend because, see, I'm fully retired. You know what I mean? So, you know, she worked 5 days a week. So every weekend literally was her weekend because I got to experience a weekend, you know, what would one equate to a weekend on a daily basis because I was able to do what I wanted to do, when I wanted to do it, go where I wanted to go, when I wanted to go, get up when I wanted to get up. You know what I'm saying? I was able to do all those things at my own liberty. You see what I'm saying? But what I do is I make sure that she and I have quality time. Quality time. She and I, we always talk. We talk all the time. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I don't feel like talking. But hey, sometimes I don't feel like talking. I'm gonna say it the way it is. Yeah. But I humble myself, and I make that time to hear her heart. You know what I'm saying? Because that's when you got to walk in the spirit of love, man, because you're not going to always want to do something all the time. You know what I'm saying? But you do it out of respect of your spouse because, he or she wants to have that time with you and they need you at that time. Sometimes she just want to vent. You know what I'm saying? She just want to vent. We'll go to the park and, she'll say, this is what's bothering me, and I'll sit there, even if I heard it about 5-10 times already.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
It'll come out. Just don't keep talking.
Yeah, just let it on out, man. Just let it on out. Let it out. You know what I'm saying? Go on date nights. Go on lunch dates. Go on vacations. Do little things like, buying the favorite snacks and things of that nature. Be considerate of your spouse. Like whenever she and I are out, at the grocery store or something like that, we'll text each other, and we'll ask each other, hey, do you need anything or do you want anything? Why? Because that's showing your consideration of your spouse. It's showing them that you're being thoughtful of them. It's showing them that you think about them. You know what I'm saying? It shouldn't be all about you and what you want all the time. You know what I'm saying? Ask your spouse, hey, what do you want to do today? It shouldn't be always, well, I don't want to go over there. I don't want to do that. I don't want to, you know what I'm saying? It's always what you don't want to do, but yet you saying it's a relationship. No, that's individuality. That's not a relationship. Okay? That's you. You're in a relationship with yourself. Okay? That's selfishness. You know what I'm saying? It has to be about we, about us, about ours. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't have that mindset, then you don't need to get married. If you're thinking that way, that means that you're still thinking single. Okay? You're still thinking single, and you know what's going to happen, right? When you think single and you're in a relationship, you're going to end up single, or, if you're not married yet, you'll never see it your way to that altar. I'm just telling you straight up. You'll never see your way to the altar. I promise you that. You know what I'm saying? Because it has to be about us. You know what I mean? If you don't want to put your business out on the table, your credit, your spending habits, okay, the way that you really are, listen, I didn't clean up my apartment when my wife was coming to see me. I cleaned up my apartment because that's the way I am. You understand what I'm saying? That's the way Amari is. I'm a clean person. Listen, don't sit up there in front like you're somebody that you're not. Okay? Because you're not giving that person a fair shot at being able to make the decision about whether or not they want to proceed forward with you. You understand? Because see, if you faking it, okay, you won't stay together.
So true.
You won't stay together. I promise. You may get the marriage license and everything, but I promise you, him or her will not stick around because it's just like that song. They're going to feel like there's a stranger in my house. Who is this person that I married?
Yep. Now is not the time to fake it till you make it.
Yeah. So if you want to stay together, you got to be what? Honest.
That is so true. That's so true. I really, really don't have much more to, elaborate. This is such a broad topic. Let's stay together. There's so many things that we can do in order to stay together. And notice I say that we can do it individually and we can do it collectively. But when you are in a relationship or a marriage, just know that it's not only about you. There's some giving up for the right for someone else. There's some you're going to take is some sacrifices that you have to make. My husband and I, we just did a huge move from Florida to Tennessee. I'm talking 1,000 miles from where we just came from. And if we were not on one accord, and if we did not have temperance and patience and love with each other, it would never have happened. Not only was the packing up and moving, but we had just got through a huge transaction of purchasing multiple properties. So if there was no teamwork, if there was no collaboration, if there was no love, it would have never happened. And that's what I'm saying to you. If you want to get to the next level, you must learn to love. You must learn to be selfless. You must learn how to walk hand in hand. Definitely. You must learn how to put both of your brains together. You must realize that four eyes are better than one. We both of us. I mean, we're seers. We're prayer. We pray and the whole nine.
Yeah, there you go.
You must realize that this is a together thing. Don't be doing little shady stuff on the side. I'm seriously and expect to go to the next level. With someone. If you all by yourself, that's all fine and dandy. But if you have a partner, there needs to be some collaboration. There needs to be some communication. And there needs to be, some what?
Some of everything you said. Everything. And also really go back to being considerate. It really goes back to being considerate, because here's the thing. If you keep making decisions without your partner, they're not going to feel like a partner. A marriage is a team system, if you will. It is a team system. Together, everyone accomplishes more. If it's always, well, I don't have to talk to you because, I'm grown. You got the wrong attitude. That's the wrong attitude to have. You know what I'm saying? You have to include your spouse in those major decisions so they can know what's going on. Yeah. Okay, because when you are in a relationship, you must understand that whatever choice that you make without your spouse or your significant other, okay? When something happens, it happens to the household, to the kingdom. It doesn't just happen to you. Okay, for example, if you don't pay the light bill.
You got a lot of candles.
When you talk about medieval time, man, we talk about, electricity, light bulbs, you understand? So, hey, if say for instance, you're financially struggling and, you just have this private thing about you. Well, I don't like to tell nobody my business. Lights get turned out, water get turned off. Who does that affect? And you're living together. It affects the whole household. It affects everybody. Not everybody is without electricity. Not everybody is without water. You understand what I'm saying? So you got to understand whatever decision that you make, it's affecting the whole household. Let me just say this. And this is just me. I know some people will challenge what I'm saying, but this is just the way I personally feel about it. When you cheat, that's not love. When you commit adultery, that's not love. Okay? You're hearing this from a man. That's right, I said it. You know the reason why I say this? Let me share this with you from a man who not only loves his queen, but who's in love with his queen. Love leads me to never forget what my queen has done for me. Love leads me to think about how she would feel if she knew if I did such a thing. I want you to marinate on that for a moment. Because let the truth be told, a lot of people try to use, well, we got into a disagreement. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I don't like his or her ways, or they don't pay me enough attention, or this, and that. Okay? I personally believe, this is me now. This is just the way I feel. If you're done, be done. And let that person, let he or she go on with their life. Don't play the game. Don't play with a person's emotions and feelings. That's not love. Oh, I love you. It's just that, you don't talk to me. You don't give me the tip. No, you put it on the table. Okay, listen. I expressed myself to you. I told you the way I feel. You know what I'm saying? You totally disregard the way I feel. And I'm done. I don't want to be in a relationship with you any longer because I don't feel like, you are the one for me, because I feel like I'm in this relationship by myself. I feel like I love you, but the love is not reciprocated. And then move on with your life. Move out of the house. Okay, and we're talking about a situation where the person is capable. I understand certain situations. However, a man and a woman got to do what they got to do. Remove yourself from the situation. Okay? But don't remain to stay in a relationship where you know that you're not happy.
I just looked at a message of one of the Cindy. She says that this conversation can relate to all relationships up to and including friendships. That's right. Loyalty is warranted on all relationships, or at least most of them. Friendships and things like that. And just know that if you have a friend that is unloyal, then it's probably not your friend.
Exactly.
And you know what I notice is that we make up so many excuses for people and their behavior, and we give so many people passes to treat us any type of way, to mistreat us, and we sit around there and we take it. Oh, they were just having this, or they don't really mean it. I mean, personally, if you meant it, you know what I mean? So you really, in some cases, now you really have to evaluate, some of these relationships that we find to be, there's no loyalty, there's no commitment, there's no love, there isn't anything that would pertain to or would show that it was a relationship.
Absolutely, I agree. And I like what Cindy said again. She said that relationships can be very complicated, especially when raw emotions are involved. And I concur. Let me say this too. And because like my queen, she said this is very broad. And we're getting ready to close because this is a very extensive subject matter that we can elaborate on for a very long time. One thing I experienced in my past relationship, okay, is this woman always tried to make me be who she wanted me to be. Okay? You know what I'm saying? She all wanted me to dress the way she wanted me to dress. Her daddy didn't have a mustache and he had a bald head like me, dark skin like me. Right? She wanted me to be her father. If you want to stay together, listen, you cannot go into a relationship with an parental connection with that person, if you will. Your spouse is not your mama, and they're not your daddy. If you want to stay together, you got to be an adult. Okay? In a relationship, all parties are responsible for upholding that kingdom. Okay? And this woman will not allow me to be myself. We got into big arguments over that. And you know what? We didn't stay together. You know why? Because she wanted me to be who she wanted me to be rather than allow me to be who I am. One thing I tell my queen, she may have a certain hairstyle, and this one I particularly like. And the other one she had on earlier, she looked good in it. Okay? But what I'm saying is this. And I see her lips tooting up in the background. You understand? I'm just going. I'm just.
What you say?
Hey, I'm going to say it. Listen, man. That's manipulation and that's control. All right. My queen, she can dress the way she likes to dress because she doesn't dress immodest. First of all, okay. I don't tell her go back and change out of this because I don't like it. I don't tell her, well, don't wear that oil no more because I don't like that fragrance. I don't tell her, well, don't wear that hairstyle no more because I don't like that hairstyle. Listen, if you want your relationship to work out, you got to allow someone to be who they are. If they're a bright color person, then that's just what they are. Okay? Now, I'm not talking about I'm not talking about Dennis Rodman weird now. I'm not talking about now. See now, matter of fact, family, we don't have to even address that because I don't believe some of you.
Well, keep it moving.
I believe if some of you seen Dennis Rodman, coming and meet you at the date table, I don't think y'all will go that far anyway. But I'm just saying, okay, allow that person, to be who they are. Because who wants to be in a relationship with somebody that is always about what they want? Okay, and it's always about them. And guess what? It may be the man's responsibility, ladies, partially to take care of you. But one thing I love about her is when I met her, she never asked me for nothing. Now listen, I'm not saying you won't stay together because you asking for something. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is the man is not your daddy. A part of the responsibility for you, queen, is to take care of yourself too. Okay? He's not your daddy, he's your husband. Brother, it's not her responsibility to come into the house and pick up your dirty underwear and to pick up your clothes from all over the place, okay, and to clean up behind you all the time and to cook and to, no. I guarantee you that relationship will not last long. Why? Because the woman is going to feel like she's in a relationship with an adolescent. Okay? Again, if you want it to work, refrain from doing these things.
And that's basically, we have something. Cindy said, when you're truly connected, you would already know the dislikes of each other's scents, clothing, foods, etc. So you already know, I'm not wearing this or that. Absolutely. But even in that, when a person is respecting the individuality of someone else, it's not saying that you're living an individual life, but you're respecting, that person likes or dislikes also. I'm not saying to the point where you're provocative and you're disrespectful and, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that, we are individuals as well as together we're one. So I don't know if that made any sense or not, but
It did.
people should be allowed to at least express themselves. I feel like if Amar doesn't allow me to be myself, then I would be miserable. I would truly be miserable because I would be not authentic. I would be something that I'm not.
Absolutely. And in closing, also the last point I like to make is you stay together by reasonable time apart as well. So you do stay together by having time apart. You got to give each other room to breathe. That is very healthy for a relationship. Every time your spouse move, you don't have to move now. Let him or her go out with, their friends and have that time apart, because everybody needs that me time. Allow each other to have that time. Sisters, go out on, some sister outings and some vacations with your friends, and brothers, go out with your homeboy. Go out and have a good time. Go out with your friends, man. Relax, chill out.
Some relationships will not allow that.
Yes, some relationships, like the Queen said, will not allow it.
Every relationship is unique. We don't have any cookie cutter stuff. Even the things that we threw out, you can take in the bits and pieces and see how it relates to your relationship. But there's really no cookie cutter. Now, my husband don't mind if I, travel and do this. I mean, somebody else might have an issue. You as a female, or, you might have an issue with your husband going away and all this other kind of stuff. So each relationship is different when it comes to some stuff.
I agree. But like I said, what I was talking about is someone actually having, and clingy spirit. You know what I'm saying? For lack of a better term, is a clingy spirit. Okay, you just always got to be up under him, and if this person doesn't show you affection all the time like a baby needs that type of attention, see, that's what I'm saying. That's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a problem. Somebody dealt with abandonment. Okay, somebody dealt with neglect. And so with that being said, that's what I'm talking about. If you want to stay together with somebody, you got to get over that. You have to get that taken care of.
Yeah, and one thing that I like, in the house that we just bought, I'm here like before I wasn't with him all day long. I'm literally here on Sundays, all day long with him. And what I like is we have our room together. Then he has his room in his office by himself, and right across from his office and his room, I have my own space. And that just helps us to, stay together and stay out of each other's way.
Definitely, man. So with that being said, family, we thank you all so much for tuning in for Keys to a Successful Relationship with the Amaris. As my queen said, this is not a cookie cutter type of advisory program, but I do believe this, that what's being said, I promise you, this should be an across the board type of thing. I guarantee you, your relationship will not fail by adhering to the wise advice that has been given on this program. This is why my queen and I are able to maintain a healthy and a prosperous and a joyous relationship. Queen, you have any closing remarks?
No, that's about it.
All right, we love y'all, family. Thank you for tuning
you.
in. Remember, sharing is caring. If you know somebody who can benefit from this program, it'd be great if you would share with them as well, so that their relationship can be preserved and it could be prosperous and healthy as well. Be blessed.
Be blessed.